episode number 9 with Expressive Arts with Akshata. Today we have somebody really special and all the way from Delhi. I met her last year at the Simtai conference in Udaipur and we shared a room, and that's how I got to know her. And now she's in Pune teaching on a few courses, so I got hold of her again to talk to everyone. She's Tanvi Bajaj, and let's hand it over to her to introduce herself. Hi Tanvi.
Hi Akshata, great to be here. So I'm here because I'm teaching a course on Laban movement analysis. That's what I'm primarily do, but along with that I'm also a dance movement therapy practitioner and I am a classical dancer, so all of that together, but just a mover. I think it's the best way of describing.
Awesome, great. That's such a nice introduction. And we would love to know what your journey has been with Expressive Arts.
It's been an exciting journey so far. It's very early on in the years to really call it a journey, I feel. I mean, we have a long way to go. It started about 5-7 years ago in 2010, 8 years ago now, so 2010. And it's been a rewarding journey, very, very satisfying. I've digressed several times in between here and there, but somehow it's called me back. It's found me each time I've lost my way. And I've met some interesting people, visited some really nice places. So it's been a very satisfying journey and I'm excited to see what the rest of the years have to unfold.
Great. So how did you get involved with movement and Laban, and how did you choose to be in this field and practice in this field? So what is that? How has that been?
So actually, I didn't choose to be in this field. I think when I was 6, my mom enrolled me to a classical dance class, and I didn't know what I was getting into, of course. And somehow that became a part of life. It became a part of me, and it kind of continued. Sometimes it used to be a pain to go for classes, and I used to feel like I want to hang out with my friends and not go for my practice. But it just became. I didn't realize when it became a part of me. And then through my studies, which were in psychology, undergrad, postgrad, I performed in college. I performed with my professors. They came and saw my performances. And in fact, one of the professors from my university was someone who had more foresight about my profession than I did. And she kind of suggested that why don't you combine your studies and your interest and hobby and see where that takes you. So I did a lot of research and exploration on how performing arts can be therapeutic, which led me to dance therapy. Then I found Tripura Kashyap and then I attended a workshop with her, and then it kind of started on from there. Through dance therapy, I came across movement analysis, which was very intriguing. It kind of appealed to my personality, which was not, while I love abstract and I love things which are vague, but I also seek some sort of objectivity, and which is what this kind of movement analysis brought in, really looking at human movement, breaking it down, finding that objective way of understanding patterns before I can work on movement therapy based interventions. So I loved studying analysis, and after that it's just become one cocktail of things that I do. Yeah, but it's absolutely lovely and satisfying.
Okay. You're probably one of the first facilitators who I'm interviewing about Laban. So can you tell us a little more about where is that philosophy coming from? What is Laban movement analysis? If you can give us a little more information on that.
Sure. So it's actually a philosophy which was developed by one gentleman called Rudolf Laban, and he was in Europe. This is around the time of World War I, all of that. So it is a reactive philosophy is what I have sort of begun to understand. And given what was happening in the time and space there in the socio-cultural environment, it was kind of breaking away from how movement was looked at. And this perspective to movement breaks it down to really small fragments. So it looks at the whole, but then it dissects it into these different categories of how the body is moving, where in space is it moving, what is the quality of that movement, what is the resultant shape of the body in the space at that time. So it's really breaking it down to these small pieces and putting the pieces together to give a new whole.
Okay.
And give a new meaning to the movement from a very different lens. So the applicability of this is not just I use it in movement therapy, but it's really applied in everywhere wherever there's movement, be it in sports, be it in theater, physiotherapy, yoga, or just everyday life where we're moving all the time. So I find the applicability was very inviting because it's so vast. It's wherever human movement is, LMA can be applied there. So that's kind of really a in a nutshell.
Yeah, interesting. It seems really interesting. I've done a very short module of Laban in my training, but yeah, it would be nice to explore more. Moving on, in my conversation with you earlier, you said you use Laban with Bharatnatyam, and how did you come to that connection, or what got you to like explore that avenue as well?
So I think it began when I was doing my studies in the US, because while I was doing this whole theoretical course and experiencing looking at movement in a different way, I was also performing with the group there. And being a classical dancer, I found Bharatnatyam dancers, which was kind of, my comfort space. So I used to learn these theories in the day, and evening classes I would try and apply them. And it was really a hit and try kind of an experimentation, but it seemed and it made so much sense because in India, I was never taught like that. Like a simple example of Aramandi, which is sitting in the half sitting position. Most of the gurus in India are just like sit more, 6 inches more, 10 inches more, and it's really on your knees.
Yeah.
And we're never told where the rotation of the hip joints need to be, where should the pelvis be. So all of this alignment, which makes you a better mover, which makes you a more efficient mover,
Right.
was never really, we weren't really taught with that perspective. So because I was studying anatomy and because I was studying what is the most optimum way of using the body, I would keep applying that back to Bharatnatyam. And I found quite a few interesting changes in the way I was moving. It helped me in, stabilizing yourself, grounding yourself while still allowing for certain kind of mobility to be there, and or holding the posture without being exertive.
Right.
So changing
Yeah.
some inner movement patterns or dynamics inside the body, which does not keep that holding very exertive. So these changes, which using different planes in a different way, adding three-dimensionality to the movement, so things like that, which may not visually seem very different from what somebody else is doing, but I feel that my body it can do more now. So the moving stamina of the body felt like it's changed because I'm applying these principles. And I think it's an ongoing process for me, because the more I study and work with Laban, the more I would keep applying. And luckily both are 50-50 in my life. I'm dancing and I'm studying, so it's a constant exchange of knowledge that I'm doing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
isn't that a great combination?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate to be in that position.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And tell us about the book that you've written.
Well, yeah, that was it was actually something which was I think how the world conspired and it just made it happen for me. I was sitting on it for 5 years while having a publisher. I got the publisher in my second year of writing, and for 5 years I'm just like researching and I'm reading up and I'm telling my publisher, yeah, I'm gathering data, till one editor who was like, I am going to make sure that by this December this book is out. So she would hound me and make sure that I submitted my chapters on time, and she set a deadline for me, and it was really thanks to her and of course my professor who suggested that I write this book that it actually came. And of course it's been received very well. It's got in its third edition print now. And yeah, I mean, I love it, but I don't think I'm getting into a second book space ever. No, it's too much.
But tell us more about your first book. So what did you write on, and how did that kind of link to your studying that you were doing that time?
Mm-hmm. So that was actually before I discovered, or parallelly, while I was discovering, writing and researching for the book, I came across dance movement therapy. But the book was actually more about how just engagement with performing arts, and be it music or theatre or dance, just as a performer, how is that therapeutic for the performer.
Okay.
So it's not about facilitating or not about being in a therapeutic setting, but just receiving that therapeutics of the performing arts by just being an engager. So I used to spend a lot of time with musicians, with theatre practitioners and with dancers, and understanding their life journeys and what role their involvement with the art had in their lives, and how it helped them cope and how it helped them become who they were. So that was kind of what was, and then I would link it to the existing theories in performing arts. So how engagement in dance, we don't even realize, but we're stamping our feet, and that's kind of like acupressure going on the soles of your feet, right? So these kind of parallels came up.
Okay.
And so then, while I was researching, I came across music therapy, dance therapy, and this whole new world of performing arts therapy and expressive arts therapy opened up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of the initiating point for me.
Wow. Amazing, and I can't wait to read your book. It's in my Leslie library, so I'm going to grab it as soon as I go to Boston next time. But tell us one of your success stories.
That's always a, I don't know. I think, because we work with different people, different populations, I think when, at least as I feel when, sometimes as a therapist or as a facilitator, if I set a milestone for somebody else, for another group of, maybe children or a client, and you feel that they have reached that milestone, it's like a success story. You feel like you're able to bring about this slight change in somebody with the work that you're doing. I feel
Right.
yeah, I mean, of course there are professional successes and all of those, but I think this is what kind of keeps me going, that you're really making a difference and you're really doing what you think you're doing.
Yes, and that's beautiful by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every step kind of counts into
Yeah.
a bigger success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what? In India now, expressive arts as a profession is so new. So that every step there also is kind of adding on to so much.
Exactly.
So if you have to tell me, where do you see expressive arts in the next 5 years?
I think we've come a long way from where people didn't even know what expressive arts was, and now at least we have people like you and me who are talking about it, and even though we're in separate cities, we have common connections, we have
Right.
a circle that we kind of belong to. So I think we've already come a long way, but of course there is a long, long way to go, and I'm hoping in the next 5 years we'll have less decentralization. So I will not say decentralization, but I will not say centralization, but I will say less decentralization. So more coming together, and really expressive arts finding a space and place of their own in several sectors, because again, like, the application is really vast. So be it education, be it healthcare, or in the social sector, in the developmental sector, there is a need in all of these sectors for something like expressive art. So I really hope that in the next 5 years we're able to make a presence, have a community that is working towards these things, and have something slightly more substantial to
Yes.
talk to people about,
Yes.
and not just experiential. But
Yeah. Lot of documentation.
yeah,
and
something in the
research,
academia,
yeah.
some more like maybe white papers or something like
Yeah.
that, which really contributes to the development of the field as a whole. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I think we all are moving towards that slowly, step by step, taking
Yeah.
those baby steps right now. But yeah, hopefully somewhere in the next 5 years we should
I'm
be able
sure
to,
we
like,
will
yeah,
be.
we
I
will
think,
be able.
given the track record, I'm sure we will be.
Yeah, in the last few years, that's actually true. But thank you so much. This was a beautiful sneak peek into your journey. But now we're going to come to the fun part of this entire segment. So the fun part is the rapid fire round. Okay, it's going to be quick, spontaneous. Whatever comes to your mind, just say it out loud.
Okay.
Without judgments.
Okay. I'll try.
Totally accepted in unconditionality.
Okay, I will try.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. So tell me, what is the one quality that makes you the facilitator that you are today?
I think because I'm always experimenting with newer things, and I keep mixing something. So yeah, I don't know. But I guess because
Accepted.
I'm always wanting to learn more and include more in my work, so I think that gives a new dimension each time.
Great. One go-to art form.
That's a difficult one. Well, movement, yes, of course. Dance, yes, but I think art. I think that's like when shit hits the fan, I go to art.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. One reaction that you get when you tell people what you do.
That really varies, actually, and now I've started tweaking what I say to them based on who's asking me the question. So it ranges from being a dancer to a dance teacher to a dance therapist, and LMA is hardly ever, like, I don't ever, this much is too much for them to process, so LMA never happens. But the reaction is, I think the funniest one that I've got so far is, so you will dance in front of me and that will be therapeutic for me. So it kind of varies.
Yeah.
It's, but people are curious to know more, so at least it doesn't stop at this, and they, okay, tell us more about what you do.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Yeah. The next question is the fun
Yeah.
part. Like always, like when what do you do? But once you tell them, then
what's that?
what's that? That's the interesting
Yeah,
part.
exactly.
Yeah. How expressive are you?
I don't know actually. I can be expressive. I think my facial expressions kind of give it away, but I somehow, body movement wise, not so much. I don't know actually. I think people who are talking to me would be able to tell that better than me.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Great. Now, the next one is basically with your body as an instrument. Tell us what you feel about expressive arts. So you might want to move, create shapes, or take a pose, and that's going to be open to really like kind of explore with your body about expressive arts. You have to express.
So what I think of expressive arts.
What do you feel?
Or
of
what I feel.
Yeah.
Through a movement or through the body.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, that's, I think.
Okay. And would you like to share what was the movement all about?
I think I was kind of, my mind was still at the 5 years from now where you see expressive arts. So I was thinking of assimilating everything and really holding it together by something, and then making it self-sustainable, and then letting it float and fly on its own. I was kind of thinking from that.
And can we do that movement together? Is that
Sure.
okay?
Yes,
So you can like
absolutely.
tell me.
So we can just pick things however, and you're bringing it together and just holding a container, making sure you're looking after it, and then letting it fly.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Tanvi. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. This was lovely.
This
It
was
a
lovely
quick
too.
chit chat.
Yes,
Yeah.
quick chit chat, but got to know so much about what you do, what your journey has been, what you think about expressive arts, and that's beautiful. And that's what we want to know because it's inspirational in its own ways.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and having me here. It's been a wonderful chat with you, and it's always good to share and have these forums where we can know more about each other. So
Yes.
I'm gonna go and check on the other seasons that you've already released.
For sure, take a look at all of that.
will, yeah.
And everyone here, do take a look and get in touch with Tanvi to know more about what she does. You already have a quick sneak peek about what she does, but to know more, you can always get in touch with her. And that was Tanvi Bajaj. And Tanvi, thank you so much.
Thank
this
you.
was brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.